perfect grade Gundam. Is it perfect? Oh, yeah. Well, here he is, the OG RX-78-2. And albeit it's an older kit, for me, who is relatively, a novice sort of Gundam builder. I've built a few now. I guess we're working on 8 or so over the years. I've never really got into a rhythm with them too much until just lately, like building them in successive order. Usually there was a few months between each Gunpla build that I would do. So that may have contributed to a bit of the more enjoyment going through the build process. But overall, I think this is a real good time. It's a lot of fun to build, and it's pretty rewarding when you're all done. It's a good size. I'll give you an exact measurement once we get through kind of looking at it. So what did we run into? Okay, first off, I ran into a problem with the head assembly, getting the battery tray to fit. And no matter what I did, this little tray to hold your battery, I could not get it to slide all the way in. And I think I may have had one of the little wire spring like connectors for the contacts for the battery come loose inside, I think, maybe, and spring out of position and was blocking the tray from going in all the way. I did take it apart. I put it back together, but it happened again. Whatever it is that's going on was still happening. So I sort of decided to just leave it the way it was and not bother with pushing it with trying to get it lit. I'm never really going to light it, but I was disappointed not to be able to see what it looked like lit. And I ran into a similar problem with the Zaku. I wasn't able to get that one to light either. I don't know what I did. Me and LEDs, I guess I'm going to have to work on those. Those are going to be something for me to work on in the future for sure. We are determined to get something with lights in it, but we have yet to achieve that goal. So overall, let's see. Other than the lights, the screws. I tended to over tighten the screws. There are screws for the shoulders, knees. There are a few of the joints there, and I tended to have them over tightened. So you just gotta come back and give them a loosen a little bit until you get some free mobility with the tension on the joint. So you want to be careful you don't pull the poly cap apart. And I think other than that, small little hiccups that I ran into. I think that was basically it overall. I'm having a little bit of trouble here aligning. There's a tab inside that fits in a slot to mount the torso right into the waist. And they're a bit tricky to line up. I can't get them. I just have to pop the skirt off. I had to use a hobby knife to position the tabs to get it to push right down. But other than that, that's it, I think. Clean up for an older kit was great. And I think the detail leaves it open, for the more experienced builder to go nuts with panel lining, because you have all these open panels that you can work with. But, yeah, I think he looks really, really good. The proportions look really neat. And all we used were two tools, three, I guess, including a sanding stick. So a sanding stick, a glass file, a pair of nippers, and several different paint markers. And that got us to where we are. And I'm not going to matte coat this kit. I like this bit of sheen that I'm getting on it. It looks like some sort of polymer or ceramic armor, and I like it. I also like that everything on here is removable. So, I mean, I could, it would take some scrubbing, but with some Windex or whatever, all of the stickers would come off because we use the factory stickers. And the reason I use those instead of the after market decals that I had was that the decals that I have are for the Perfect Grade Unleashed. And I have that kit, which doesn't come with decals. And I didn't want them to look the same. So I decided to go with the stickers for now. And they're not too bad. You can see the outline. But I'm just, assuming that in real life, that's what they did. They just smacked some sort of Mylar type, marking on it, and off he went out of the factory and onto the front lines kind of thing. But They leave that little bit of carrier film, like the little sticker outline that you can see here and there. But I don't think overall, in my opinion, it's not detracting from the overall aesthetic of the kit. So I'm just gonna leave them the way they are. Now for the shield, I had this came in one of those generic high grade, Earth Federation Space Force decals, and I just used that for the shield to get a marking on it because no sticker was provided, and I think it kind of works really good. And with the shield, all I did was sand the red plastic a bit where I didn't sand the body, and added the light, aka it's a red marker, signal red, but it's lighter than the plastic, and a buff sort of color. And I used the buff on the corners, and then I just used that red to reveal like the chipping, the primer underneath sort of look. And we added the automatic weapons fires being strafed there, with just dotting it and dabbing it with our finger. And the rest of the scrapes and chips are just marker work. It's all it is, just playing with it and, getting whatever you want. You can stop and keep going, or whatever it is you want to achieve. You can basically get, exactly what you want. And it works out pretty good. And I think it makes for fairly convincing chipping, especially down here on the feet and stuff. So what I did was I figured it's a fairly new suit, and it's going to be, kicking through stuff, stomping around stuff, all that kind of thing. And it's going to take more wear along the bottom into the legs and the midriff and that. And at the bottoms of the arms and the elbows where it's reaching in and grabbing stuff or fending off stuff. Then it might up near the top. So I minimized the weathering as we get near the top. And I wanted to weather the shield pretty good so it looked like it'd been, taking a beating. But as you can see, I only got the one mark, like it looks like he took a good right hand to the head. And that's it, man. I just kept it simple. It's summertime, and I'm just, having fun down here at my desk. Not taking on any real super complicated or, over demanding projects during the summer. And these gunpla kits are really, really, punching that ticket. they are really providing me with a lot of fun. So I'm gonna take here. Let me pop the shield off, and I can get a look. You can get a look at the backpack, which is right here. It has a lot of cool functions, and we'll kind of go through those too quickly, and that'll be the reveal. So with the backpack, all I did was I used some of the gray markers to add some chipping here and there, wear along the edges, and we just used some decals, and I used some nose step decals along the top here, and used this keep away, big sign, stay away, danger along the bottom there. And yeah, I think they work really well. And then the rest of it is all stickers. So the only decals we used were there on the backpack and the Earth Force emblem on the shield. And the rest is what you get in the box. And I think, like I said, again, for the age of the kit, it really goes together really well. And it's so remarkable engineering once you get into the mobility of it and everything. It really, really comes together. Keep running this off there. I pushed it a little closer. It'll get his feet in. But yeah, let me bring out the turntable. And you can spin, and we'll bend them around, and we'll show you some of the posability. Okay, now that we're got our microphone muff exposed there, I probably won't be as muffly. So, but for articulation, perfect grade articulation, old school. So we got some gimmicks and some moving parts and stuff that we can definitely take a look at. First off, you have the opening hatch here that gets you into the cockpit. And if I can zoom in and get the light in there, you may be able to actually see Amaru. Can you see him in there? Let me see how close I can get. Get the light. Oh, you can just sort of start to see him in there. Oh, yeah, there he is. So back in there is your pilot, and I chose to paint him a bit. I got white on him and red. You can just kind of start to see him in there. It's kind of hard to get the light to shine off him, but anyways, you have the cockpit inside, and there is a core fighter that comes with this. and we'll get to that later. But there is a core fighter, and this imitates that core fighter core that goes inside of the Gundam itself. So, first off, you have this opening hatch part on the front. You have these movable louvers. These are pins, so you can move those around if you want. The head swivels, tilts up and down. You get a bit of, pretty good tilt up and down. And these panels here will open, although I glued the head closed because they were kind of binding up a bit, I found, and leaving a bit of a gap here that I didn't like. So I just, a little bit of Tamiya glue at the back, held that into place, and that took care of that. Let's see, on the backpack, there is some nice stuff. So you have these beam saber holders, and they allow you to move the beam saber around. You can, shift the angle that you want them at, and they just pop in and out of like a poly cap at the top. And then you have your thrusters on the bottom, and they will, give you a fair bit of movement back and forth, like so. So you can sort of angle them out a little bit and just sort of, boom around as you want. The arm and shoulder gives you a fair bit of stuff here. So look at the shoulder. So you have these flaps, they open, right? And it goes up and down, and there's interior detail there that you can paint if you want. And there you go. So you got that. Now you have the elbow. Right, so you have the elbow fully articulated with the shoulder. It'll go up and down. All right. It'll also hinge out. Now, when you do the elbow, you just want to, or the shoulder, you just want to make sure you kind of have a hold of this joint, because you want the screw tight enough to hold it, but then that relies on the poly cap. So I found I just need to grab it there at the base of the shoulder. But once you do that, it'll move anywhere you want and rotate up and down, right, like so, right, just like so. No waist movement at all in the waist. The waist is fixed. So because of that core block sort of setup, there's no rotation in the waist at all. But you can turn the head, and you can kind of get the legs positioned so that it sort of suggests that he can move. Amazing that these fingers are molded. They come on a sprue, each finger in one piece, and they're fully articulated. You have all the joints work. So you have very posable hands that will work for all kinds of different sort of, poses and stuff. As a kid who grew up with Kung Fu Grip G.I. Joe, boy, if we had these hands on our G.I. Joes back then, wow, it would have been something. Now, skirt, all the panels move and articulate, so, you can get them out of the way for the hip and the leg. And with the leg, we have like the full hip all the way up. Right, you get a full hip, and then the knee will get you bent all the way back. So you have a nice bend on the knee. Right. I think once you pose it around, you can really see how just adding that bit of weathering, even if you're just using markers or whatever, really kind of adds to that realism of that this thing is a machine. Now into the foot. Right, we've got the armor and stuff, and we get a bit of a toe paint. There's a bit of articulation there in the foot. So you do get a bit of a toe bend, and it turns and swivels and goes up and down. So, you can really get some dynamic poses at the size that it is. You can get it in some pretty, convincing looking poses, right? And stand with the legs. You have all these panels here on the bottom of the calf. They'll open up, and they'll reveal the internals. And, that's where we just sort of used a couple different types of paints and just the silver markers and the, green paints and stuff. But it reveals those little thrusters in the back of the leg, and, little shock absorbers stuff. Now, these panels are a bit fiddly. You can see that it's a poly cap that holds them in place. And there is this, pin and joint here. Oop, this pin and joint here that you can see. So right in there, like, you want to hold that kind of together with the back of your side of your blade when you open them, because the tendency is for these to pop off, and they don't want to just pull out like they would normally if there was a glue fastened. But I don't know, it's kind of not something I really want to glue, but I'm not really posing it like that too much, leaving it closed. But That shows you all of the articulation in the leg, though, as far as the opening panels go. But if you wanted to pose it with it open, it definitely does reveal a lot of internal detail. And you can definitely get a good, look at what's going on there with it for sure. So that's, I think, all the moving parts. And no, there is still more. There is on either arm, there is in the forearm, this opening panel. And it reveals the little thrusters and internal detail that is in there that you can choose to paint or not. Now, I usually set mine in a stoic pose, generally, and, that's usually good for me. The slightly walking or stepping away or into something is pretty cool. Now on the shield, also we have these open on the things here. I'll kind of zoom in again for that. I forgot about these opening panels on the waist. So we have these panels that expose these power packs, or I'm not sure what they are, ammo of some sort or something. But they open, all four of them, open and close on those little hinges. And click back into place there. And back out again. And yeah, so in the shield, we have the adjustable. So this adjusts up and down, depending on how you want to slide it. This thing will slide. There we go. So you can position the arm, and he grips it, and that'll clip onto the forearm. And then we also have this block here to block off the view thing, which I thought was really cool. We just put a little pin wash in there to bring out the details. But yeah, so you got your little shield for the visor and your handles on top and bottom. And then with this beam rifle, we have like this pop-up. You just got to sort of get your finger in there to sort of pop it up. But we have this breech sort of effect here that you can use. And that gets the thing open so you can see the internals. And we have the handle. Will rotate either way, depending on how he wants to be holding it. And the sight, or the light, whatever it is, will rotate right from one side over to the other. And there's his gun. And you have your beam effects, which will fit into both. They'll fit into the gun, if you wanted to. And they also fit into the beam saber. And the beam saber little toggle switches actually work. Will toggle back and forth. But, here, if you go too far, they tuck back inside. So I'm just going to pop him back so you can see him. There we go. And they're just on like a little ball that sits inside the channel. And they just go back and forth like that. And you can flip them. Here, I'll show you that out and up close up. There is the beam saber. And there is the little switch on the toggle inside. Just like so. And I'll go up and down. Just like so. Yeah, there's so many moving little parts of this thing. I'm sure I'm missing much. Like you have the full wrist, articulation to turn. And I mean, basically, you have a lot of mobility. And depending on how much you're going to move them around, you can stiffen up those screws. Once you get them kind of set where you want them, you can stiffen them up. And as far as I could tell, he's never going to move. And you saw the option where you could mount the shield to the back. I thought that kind of looked cool. Made him look sort of tall, heroic, stoic. So there's his gun. And there he is. Right here, we'll get him standing straight. And for comparison's sake, I'm just going to slide him over here. And we can compare him to the same vintage perfect grade Zaku. And there's his arch nemesis. And I thought they were going to look really cool together. I thought about posing them, I think, back to back as if they're going to be marching to a duel. But yeah, you can see size-wise, once you get the command horn on the Zaku, he's actually a little bit taller. They're roughly the same size, but you got the squatty, stocky, girthy Zaku, which body-wise, without the horn, he's definitely shorter than the RX-78. And they really complement each other well. If you like sci-fi and you like, mechs and that kind of thing, man, I tell you, my shelf just came alive with these two things up there. Every time someone comes over, this is one of the first things that they notice. They do. Like they're not really into Gundam at all ever, if they never even seen them before. And they'll go back to the tanks and the trucks and the cars and stuff that I got in my other display cases. But these really catch the eye. They're like, "What the heck is that, dude? What are these things?" And they're I think they're really a lot of fun to build for sure. So I'll get the turntable on and we'll spin them around and take some glamour shots at them. And I'll set these guys up, and I think what's going to be the pose of mutually assured destruction. And I'll set these guys up kind of like such. So it looks like they're backing each other, and make a nice pair of Gunpla bookends for sure. So that's my take on the OG Perfect Grade, minus the Core Fighter. I know. It comes with a Core Fighter, and I'm putting it together this afternoon, and I'm going to weather it, and I'll include it in a little short just to put the final nail in this project. But I did leave it till the end because I was having a lot of fun just weathering and stuff, and that's the last bit to build. But until then, enjoy the final pictures and everything, and build something. If you're not, or you're thinking about grabbing something, go ahead, jump in both feet. The worst you could do is make a mistake, and mistakes are part of everything, so don't worry about it. Just try it, and if you make a mistake, fix it up. Fix it if you can. If not, try again. Try again is the mantra for every modeler. So I'm the model student, and live, love, laugh, plan something for the future, because that's when you'll see me. So cheers.